Oh boy, this is gonna be a tough one to do. Dragon Ball Evolution. Now I know I said I was only gonna do animated TV shows, but since this film is based off one and is full of enough CGI to qualify, I think I can make an exception. Cause this movie is in serious need of some fixing in this episode of What If Dragon Ball Evolution Were Good? So grab your scripts and let's get started. Now, before we begin, I think we need to set some limitations on what we can and can't do to fix this. After all, I'm simply acting as the story fixer, if you will. So here's some ground rules to keep me from having too much control over the movie. First off is that the cast is to remain the same as the one we got. I know that means a white version of Goku and Roshi not being played by Jackie Chan, but hear me out. I think this cast can be worked with. That aside, I can, however, have the characters' appearances modified to look more close to their characters, which I will get to in a bit. Next rule is that if the character was not included in the film, this includes deleted scenes, then they can't be added in due to it requiring additional casting. However, I am allowed to omit as many characters as I see fit, and by that I mean all the characters in high school. Unfortunately, because of not being allowed to add characters, this means that Krillin, Tien Shinhan, Chaozu, Ox King, and other humans will not be included, but they are allowed to be mentioned. One last thing is that this will be a PG-13 rated movie instead of PG, because let's be honest, when's the last time a PG rated film about superheroes has worked? When's the last time it's worked with live action? Yeah, that's what I thought. Anyway, so with those rules set, let's start by fixing the characters we have to work with so they look a bit more accurate. Starting off, we have Goku. For the most part, his appearance is actually kinda close. But for the love of Kami, can we give him a tail? I mean, if you plan to do Ozaru, he needs to have a tail. Good. Next, we have Bulma. I'll actually defend this choice by giving her a single streak of blue, but I do have one condition. Since Bulma is known to change her hair often in the series, there needs to be an after-credit scene where she is seen changing her hairstyle, and she will at that point have all blue hair. As for which style she goes with, I'll get to it when the scene is addressed. Next up is Piccolo. Give him some antennas and he's good to go. Now, of course, we have Yamcha. I actually was okay with the way he was played in truth, but the blonde streaks should go. Those aren't really needed. And if you want, you can make his hair a bit longer, though you can justify Yamcha having shoulder-length hair as he has had that kind of hair before. Next, we have Chi-Chi. Give her that cute little helmet she used to wear back when she was younger, and I'll give it my okay. And last one for now is Master Roshi. This one is gonna be the biggest change, I think. First of all, we need him to be bald. Next, we give him a nice white beard. Make him look a bit older, and finally we give him some sunglasses. Wow, that looks much more like Roshi. He can keep the anime girl on his shirt though, it's a nice touch. Rest of the characters are either close enough, not important enough, or will be dropped from this version anyway. So now that we've fixed their appearance issue, it's time for me to justify the fact that Goku was played by a white person instead of an Asian. So here's the deal. Goku is an alien, more specifically a Saiyan. And I think that if this movie were to be depicted as a fantasy land where all the other characters are clearly Asians, we can hint to the fact that Goku stands out from the humans around him. And yes, if a sequel was ever to be made, Vegeta, Nappa, and that disappointment called Raditz would be played by Caucasians as well, while as half Saiyans like Gohan and Trunks would be played by people that are half Asian. But in order for this idea to work, we need to make sure that all the human characters are in fact Asian. So first thing we're going to do is completely remove the high school, and all the characters that were part of this are now gone completely. Sorry, not sorry. I would like to mention that while Goku will be hinted at being a bit different from the rest of the characters, this version will not have Piccolo telling Goku about his Saiyan heritage or of his name being Kakarot. That will be something for another time. Anyway, this will start off with Goku and his grandpa Gohan sparring, with that stupid explanation removed from the movie due to it contradicting the version I'm making. Anyway, the two of them are sparring like they do in the movie, and after Gohan knocks Goku off the wire they're fighting on, Gohan jumps down and tells Goku to come with him inside to celebrate Goku's 18th birthday, and gives him the 4-star Dragon Ball as his present. Gohan tells Goku that this orb contains his soul, and no matter where he goes, he will always be able to reach him through this orb, that we as an audience know as the Dragon Ball. Goku thanks his grandpa for the gift, and the sky starts to get dark. Gohan tells Goku that it's bedtime, but Goku asks his grandpa if he can stay up to see the stars just this one time, as he's never been allowed to see them before. Gohan decides to allow his grandson to see them just this once since it's his birthday. Goku goes outside to look at the stars, and we see that the moon is starting to rise. Gohan tells Goku that he'll be right back and he's just gonna go inside for a moment to get them some drinks. But while Gohan is inside, Goku looks at the moon, which just so happens to be full. I think we know where this is going. While Gohan is inside preparing some tea, he suddenly hears Goku scream in terror. Gohan rushes outside to see what's going on, and he finds that Goku is nowhere to be found, but he sees a monster where Goku was. Now I think it's important that we not see Ozaru in full quite yet, so I feel that to keep us guessing, we should only show you his shadow or silhouettes of him at this point. So anyway, Gohan assumes that this monster took Goku from him and starts to attack. We can even show him using a small ki blast or two during this fight, but to no effect. The monster manages to trample Gohan to death and breaks the house. We then see that the house is actually in the middle of a forest surrounded by trees which start to get knocked down like crazy. We then hear some roaring until the sun rises. At this point, we see that the house has been wrecked and the surrounding forest area has been destroyed. And we then see an unconscious Goku wake up from everything. If you want, and if you think a PG-13 rating would allow it, Goku can be naked at first, though nothing inappropriate should be shown. Goku finds something to cover himself with, when he suddenly sees that his grandpa is on the ground covered in some blood and dead. This scene can probably be similar to the one for the Sam Raimi Spider-Man film of Peter crying about Uncle Ben's death, in that Goku is in tears about his grandpa. Anyway, as Goku is burying his grandpa, a car comes driving to the scene. Goku freaks out and thinks this car is the monster that killed Gohan, so he runs over and lifts the car up over his head and tosses it. Once the car is on the ground broken, a girl with a blue streak of hair comes out the door with a gun and shoots Goku right in the head. Goku falls down for a moment, but then gets up, showing that the bullet only gave him a small bruise, but otherwise no harm was done to him. Goku asks her what that was for, but the girl is still shocked that the gun didn't kill him. She introduces herself as Bulma, and Goku is thrown back by this, but introduces himself in response. Goku then walks up to Bulma and starts to inspect her suspiciously. Bulma then notices that Goku has a tail and asks him about it, to which Goku asks her if it's unusual not to have one. Bulma asks if he's ever met anyone with a tail, to which Goku responds by saying that the only person he's ever met other than her is his grandpa. If you want to be silly about this or take a stab at the actual film, Bulma can then ask Goku if he's ever met anyone at school, to which Goku simply asks, "What's a school?" Anyway, Bulma realizes that Goku has never really been outside from the now broken home and asks if she could speak to the grandpa he mentioned earlier. Goku responds by digging through the rubble of his home and pulls out the Dragon Ball. Bulma then pulls out a detecting device that starts beeping when pointed at the Dragon Ball, to which Bulma says that this is exactly what she was looking for and grabs it from him. Goku gets angry at her for grabbing what he believes to be his grandpa, but Bulma then explains that this is actually a Dragon Ball, and from there she explains that the Dragon Balls can grant any wish the user has. Goku says that he doesn't care about that and that the Dragon Ball is his grandpa, and he's not willing to part with it. Bulma then shows that she has a Dragon Ball of her own and takes it out of her pocket. The two Dragon Balls start to glow in place next to each other. Bulma then decides to strike a deal with Goku and tells him that if he comes along with her, he can keep the Dragon Ball, and points out that with his home destroyed, he has nowhere else to go. Goku says that he has to think about it for a bit, to which Bulma says that most guys would do anything to be this close to such a pretty girl like her. Goku simply responds in surprise to Bulma mentioning that she's a girl. Bulma is surprised by this, but then remembers that Goku has never met anyone else before and asks if he knows what that even means that she's female. Goku responds by saying that his grandpa told him about them when he was younger, said that if he ever meets one, he should be really nice to them, but that's all he knows. Bulma is amused by this statement and says that since she is in fact a girl, he would be rude to refuse the offer she made. So he accepts the offer. Bulma goes to the broken car and pulls out a capsule-like object and presses the button. Now, I have no problem with them doing what they did in the movie of having the capsule then do the transforming thing that it did. That's fine. But since we're making these capsules more accurate to the ones from the series, there's no remote that needs to be switched, it just starts to turn into a motorcycle like it did. Goku freaks out at this instead of saying cool, and thinks Bulma is some sort of witch. Bulma explains that these are called capsules and shows a case she has containing more of them, and tells Goku about how her father owns Capsule Corporation and all that fun stuff. So Goku reluctantly joins Bulma on the motorcycle and they head off. All of this that took place should be no more than 10 to 20 minutes of screen time, by the way. So as they start heading off, we then switch over to a scene that was in the movie where Mai raids that ruined place for a Dragon Ball. They're all speaking Japanese and it ends with Piccolo appearing and Mai shooting the person she stole the Dragon Ball from. Wow. After all that stuff from Super, seeing Mai fight on the bad guy's side is such a stark contrast to seeing her be involved with Trunks. Ironic, I suppose. Anyway, we now go back to Goku and Bulma riding through the desert. Bulma says that a Dragon Ball is close by, but that there's a large body of sea up ahead, and that the Dragon Ball is likely on an island out there. Goku comments that he could swim across and get it, but Bulma tells him that he won't need to. Bulma says that it's getting late outside and they should call it a day. So she presses the button on the motorcycle and it starts to transform back into the capsule. After this, Bulma puts the capsule away and pulls out a different capsule which, upon pressing, turns into a small house. Bulma invites Goku inside and tells him that she's going to take a shower. Goku sits there waiting for a moment, and then remembers that Bulma doesn't have a tail and might need help cleaning herself. So Goku foolishly enters the bathroom, to which Bulma gets angry at him for peeping, but then Goku, having now seen Bulma naked, freaks out. Side note, Make sure all of this is done in a way that keeps the PG-13 rating. Anyway, Goku, still not fully understanding the difference between genders, starts muttering that her balls are missing, just like in the manga. And Bulma grabs a towel to cover herself and goes over to where the Dragon Balls are, and finds them still present. Bulma tells Goku that the Dragon Balls are still right where they left them, and tells him not to worry so much. So now that they're getting ready to go to bed, Bulma tells Goku to change out of his clothes and gives him some PJs to put on. To which Goku, not knowing better, strips down right in front of her. Bulma at first screams at Goku for doing this, though Goku doesn't understand why. Then Bulma notices that the tail is actually attached to him for real and not just a toy. Anyway, Bulma then tries to grab his tail, but this causes Goku to be in pain and asks him not to do that. After this, the two of them fall asleep. Meanwhile, we see far above in the sky that Mai and Piccolo are nearby in their giant helicopter that we see in the movie. And Mai informs Piccolo that there is a Dragon Ball on an island not too far, and 2 Dragon Balls are also together nearby. That all 3 not being too far apart. Anyway, Piccolo tells Mai that it is likely that whoever has the 2 Dragon Balls will likely be planning to retrieve the 3rd one from the island, and that when the time comes, they will go in and steal all 3. If you want, you can even have Piccolo state his purpose of using them to become young again. Or whatever goal, world domination, I don't care. Anyway, Mai asks Piccolo what his plan is, and Piccolo tells Mai to hook him up to the machine. Now, in the movie, this thing is never given an explanation and was confusing to everyone. And it didn't help that this was an original concept that wasn't part of the show or manga, so we need an explanation to be given. Mai asks Piccolo to explain once more what this device will do. And Piccolo explains that his blood is not like that of other people, and that it has a magical property that allows him to create these creatures. He explains that they will have no will of their own and do whatever he tells them to do. We then see that the machine draws blood, which I guess should be purple colored since it's Piccolo we're talking about. And Piccolo uses his powers to create a small army of these creatures, which he gives the orders to be ready for an attack the next day. Piccolo then smiles. As the sun rises, Goku and Bulma wake up and gets ready to head to the island for the Dragon Ball. Goku asks Bulma how they plan to cross the sea. Oh yeah, and as this is going on, they're also changing back into their clothing. Anyway, Bulma pulls out another capsule, which turns into a high-tech motorboat, or something along those lines. You guys can decide on the specifics, as long as it can be used to travel through water. Anyway, the two of them are about to start their traveling, and of course Bulma turns the little home back into the capsule so that and then puts it away. But anyway, Goku, upon seeing this traveling device, refuses to trust it because it doesn't sink underwater. So Bulma asks Goku how he intends to get to the island, which, due to the daylight, is slightly visible, but it's like really, really far away, and you can only see it as a small speck. Anyway, Goku says that he'll just swim to it, to which Bulma points out that the island is about 200 kilometers away. And yes, I think we should be using the metric system for this, seeing as it is based off an anime. And for those of you too lazy to Google 200 kilometers, it's about 125 miles. Anyway, Goku says that he can swim it no problem. So Bulma climbs onto the boat and starts heading towards the island, and tells Goku that she'll see him there. Goku then starts swimming and quickly catches up to Bulma's boat. Bulma is surprised at how fast he is, and presses some button on the boat, and it starts to go even faster. The two of them are now going at around the same speed, and Goku asks Bulma if it's the island up ahead. Bulma checks her dragon radar, and then at the island, which we can now see is a bit bigger than it was earlier. And Bulma says that that's their destination, and asks if he's getting tired from swimming, to which Goku responds that he's not even close to tired, and mentions that he was actually holding back his speed so that he doesn't get lost. So Bulma doesn't believe him and tells him that since they can now see the island being around 20 kilometers away, he is welcome to get there right away. Goku says okay to this and suddenly swims at an even faster pace, reaching the island instantly. Bulma reaches the island a bit later on, but is slightly shocked at how fast Goku is. Upon the two of them getting on the island, they see that there is a small home on the island with the words Kame House written on it. The door to this house opens and an old man walks out. The old man, of course, being Master Roshi, and immediately asks them who they are, but then notices the tail on Goku and immediately recognizes him as Gohan's grandson. Goku asks the old man how he knows that, to which he introduces himself as Master Roshi. If you want, you can have him say Muten Roshi like he did in the film instead. He then sees Bulma and starts to blush and get all googly-eyed. Now, I do know that the people making the movie said they wanted to tone down Roshi's pervertedness, and I have no problem with them doing that. However, the way the movie handled it was by just having a brief blink and you'll miss it moment of Roshi having a naughty magazine and touching Bulma's butt on accident. This, however, is not quite the right way to tone down his behavior, so we're gonna fix this. Now, since Roshi is not allowed to be as much of a pervert as he was, I figured toning it down would simply mean to have him act the way closer to how he acts in the edited TV dub that aired on Toonami way back. Which, even then, it was still clear that he was a dirty old man. Just not one that was known to sexually harass people. So anyway, Roshi notices Bulma and asks him if she's come here for a date. To which Bulma reacts in annoyance and says no and pulls out a Dragon Ball. Roshi says that he does in fact have something like that, but since Bulma won't go on a date with him, he doesn't want to give it. Goku then asks Roshi once more about how he knows Gohan, to which Roshi reveals that he trained Gohan many years ago, and asks him how Gohan's doing. Goku sadly informs Roshi of his grandpa's death, which Roshi is saddened to hear. Before they can continue talking, however, several of the creatures that Piccolo created suddenly land on the island and grab the Dragon Balls Goku and Bulma have, and a fight starts. Bulma tries to shoot them with her guns, but the bullets bounce right off, to no effect. Goku then tries to fight them off, but they outnumber him. Roshi tells Goku to lure them all into a spot on the island near the edge facing the sea. Upon doing so, Roshi cups his hands to his waist and says, Kamehameha, and fires an attack that destroys those creatures in an instant. Bulma then gets the Dragon Balls back, and Goku asks what just happened. Roshi explains that was the Kamehameha, a powerful ki blast that can defeat enemies. Goku says that he wants to try it, but Roshi says that it's a difficult technique to learn and that it took him 50 years to master, and that Gohan was never able to figure it out himself. Goku says he wants to try it anyway, to which Roshi points to an open sea and tells him to aim that way, and gives a simple explanation of focusing his energy into his hands and doing what he did just a moment ago. So Goku does that and he says, Kamehameha! And to everyone's surprise, Goku successfully fires a Kamehameha into the sea. Roshi is impressed by Goku's quick mastery of the attack and comments that there is no doubt something is different about this boy. So after this, Bulma once more asks Roshi for the Dragon Ball, to which Roshi says that he'll agree to give the Dragon Ball if she agrees to a date. Bulma instead offers to just give him a kiss instead, to which Roshi accepts the offer. Bulma kisses his cheek, After Roshi gives them the Dragon Ball, he tells them that the creatures that just attacked are no doubt the minions of Piccolo, to which Goku and Bulma ask who Piccolo is. Roshi explains that Piccolo was a powerful being that caused havoc many years ago, and that his old master sealed Piccolo away, but at the cost of his life. This can be shown with a flashback showing the character Ernie Hudson played doing just that. I know, technically that would mean having a non-Asian character, but let's just pretend we didn't see that. Anyway, Roshi tells them that Piccolo must have been released from his seal and that he was able to sense this but didn't want to believe it. Goku asks Roshi what he meant by sense it, to which Roshi tells Goku that with enough training, one can sense the energies of others around them, to which Goku asks Roshi to train him. Roshi tells Goku that he only trains one person at a time and that he has someone scheduled to come over tomorrow for just that. Goku, however, begs Roshi to make an exception, to which Roshi says that since he is Gohan's grandson and since he was able to master the Kamehameha so quickly, he will make Goku a deal. Roshi then calls over the flying Nimbus cloud, which I know was at one point planned to be included in the film, but got dropped for whatever stupid reason. Anyway, the cloud shows up and Roshi explains that this magical cloud can only be controlled by someone with a pure heart. Roshi then demonstrates by jumping onto the cloud, which allows him on it for that moment. Roshi then explains that the cloud will take him wherever he wishes to go and tells the cloud to take him to some pretty girls. The cloud then rejects Roshi, causing him to fall to the ground. Bulma says that it rejected him for having such dirty thoughts. Anyway, Roshi tells Goku that if he can control the cloud and do what it asks, he will agree to train him. Goku jumps onto the cloud and, to his luck, has no problem staying on. So he asks the cloud to circle the island, which it does. Roshi is surprised by this. Roshi tells Goku that the cloud is now his and agrees to train him. Bulma, thinking that this cloud must be easy to ride, tries to get on it, but falls right through it. Roshi laughs at this and comments that she must be a very naughty girl at times. So Goku then mentions that while he wants Roshi to train him, he did agree to help Bulma find the remaining Dragon Balls. So Roshi agrees to travel with them to train Goku, and mentions that he actually knows the location of one of the Dragon Balls, saying that the Ox King, one of his former students, has one of them, and says that his daughter is actually around Goku's age. So, Bulma tells Roshi to come with him to the boat to direct them to the location. But before that, Roshi says that he should leave a note on the door so that the expected student knows why he isn't home. We then see that the note says something along the lines of, "Krillin, went out for an emergency trip. I'll train you when I get back. Sorry about this, Master Roshi." And that is now how we can get away with not including Krillin, but giving him a chance to show up in a sequel. Anyway, so Goku gets onto the Nimbus, and Bulma and Roshi get onto the boat and start heading out. The boat starts going fast, and Roshi pretends to be falling back and uses this as an excuse to grab Bulma by the chest. Bulma gets mad and smacks him for this, though Roshi says that it was worth it. So upon returning to land, the three of them put the boat away, and Bulma gets her motorcycle back out and says that she can add an extra seat for Roshi. But Roshi then tells Goku that for his training he wants Goku to keep up with them by foot, and then pulls out a capsule of his own containing a very heavy turtle shell, which he tells Goku to wear this on his back while keeping up with them. Bulma says that this thing must weigh a lot, and that there is no way Goku could even be able to lift it. But to her surprise, Goku is able to lift it and puts it on as instructed. Roshi asks him if he can still move, to which Goku shows that he can barely, and struggles to even stay standing. Roshi says that he must keep up with them throughout, to which Goku asks, "What about the Nimbus?" And Roshi says that the Nimbus is now his to do as he wants, and if he isn't using it, to simply tell the Nimbus that it isn't needed at the moment. So Goku tells the Nimbus to do as it pleases, and the Nimbus flies off. Goku then starts to walk around with the turtle shell and starts to get the hang of it. So Roshi tells Bulma that they should start moving, to which Bulma tells him to hang on a second and reveals that she was adding a third seat to the motorcycle so he has a place to sit, much to Roshi's disappointment about not getting to sit right behind her again. So they head out, and Goku manages to keep up with them, when suddenly the three of them land into a pitfall. Bulma quickly turns the motorcycle back into capsule form, and fine, I guess we can have Roshi do that thing of catching Bulma but accidentally grabbing her by the butt and then dropping her. Goku then notices that the turtle shell broke, and apologizes to Roshi, but Roshi tells him that he has plenty more of them and not to worry about it at all. From there, Bulma then detects that a Dragon Ball is approaching them, though Roshi says that the one that he mentioned belonging to Ox King earlier is still a very far distance away from them, and that it must be a different one. We then see a man with a flashlight at the top of the pit trap offer them some help. Bulma offers to handle this and asks him to help them out, but upon seeing Bulma, he runs away hiding, though leaves the ladder for them to get out on accident. Roshi tells Goku to have the Nimbus get him up there to get the ladder, to which he does, and throws down the ladder. After helping Bulma get up, Roshi declines using the ladder and instead jumps up from the place. The man notices this and gets scared from it. Bulma comments that the man has the Dragon Ball, saying that she noticed it when he was over there. And if they can chase after him, they can likely take it from him. So they follow the signal and manage to find him, to which Goku tells him that it was rude not to help them out like that. And the guy says that he was the one who set up the trap in the first place and doesn't care. He then tells them that he's actually pretty tough and that they should give him their valuables. Goku decides instead that he doesn't want to do that, so he picks a fight and the two start battling. Goku manages to beat the guy up, and from there Bulma goes over and takes the Dragon Ball from him. Oh yeah, and I guess during the fight, this guy actually is using a sword while Goku is just using a power pole. Anyway, Roshi approaches the man and asks him why he tried to rob them. The man introduces himself as Yamcha and says that he noticed they have several Dragon Balls and he wants them to grant his wish. Bulma asks what his wish is, to which Yamcha gets nervous and almost faints. Goku asks him for an explanation, to which Yamcha apologizes and says that he gets really nervous around pretty girls. Bulma is actually quite flattered by this, considering that Yamcha pretty much just said that she's pretty. Yamcha says he needs the Dragon Balls to wish for his anxiety around girls to go away. Roshi tells Yamcha that this is a foolish thing to want, and that it's a stupid wish. But before they can say anything else, Yamcha's motorcycle gets blasted. We see that it was Piccolo that did this, and he demands that they hand over all 4 Dragon Balls or else. Roshi decides to take on Piccolo in a fight, but Piccolo outmatches him. Meanwhile, Bulma and Mai are also off fighting with their guns and other weapons, and it's a pretty evenly matched. But then, so Goku tries to help Roshi out with the Kamehameha, but Piccolo is able to block the attack and deflects it. Right as things look bad for them, Yamcha steps in and gets to a stance and yells, "Wolf Fang Fist!" and manages to rescue Goku and Roshi from harm. Piccolo, however, tells Mai to retreat due to being outnumbered, and the two of them flee the scene, telling them that this isn't the last they've seen from them. Or, you get the idea. It's one of those villainous, "you will meet again." You get the idea. Anyway, Goku thanks Yamcha for saving them, but Bulma then notices that the Dragon Balls are missing, and the radar tells her that they're moving away from her and towards another one. Roshi speculates that Piccolo stole them while they weren't looking. Yamcha, however, is upset that his motorcycle is busted and that being stuck in the desert without the Dragon Ball since it got stolen. So Bulma tells everyone that they can take her hovercraft to get to the last Dragon Ball, but they need to hurry. Yamcha insists on going with them since he doesn't want to be stuck in the middle of nowhere and still wants the Dragon Balls. Roshi tells Goku and Bulma that it might be a good idea to take him with them since he could prove to be a powerful ally. I should point out, by the way, that since the point of Goku and Bulma first meeting, a couple of weeks' time should have passed by now, like maybe a few days passed between them traveling through the desert and getting to the pitfall anyway. So it will be important as to why at the end. But anyway, the four of them get inside Bulma's aircraft and travel fast in the direction of the last Dragon Ball. Yamcha sits next to Bulma after Roshi was told to sit somewhere else, and Yamcha becomes a little bit less nervous around Bulma, and so they kind of start to have a small conversation. During this conversation, Yamcha tells Bulma about how he lives in a place with his pet cat Puar. Yep, see what I did there? And Bulma tells him about how her father is the owner of Capsule Corp, and, Yamcha's surprised by this, because, Capsule Corp in this world is mentioned to be a very multi-billion dollar company of sorts, so this surprises him quite a bit. While the two of them are talking, Goku is seen in the back doing push-ups while Roshi is sitting on his back. I'm thinking he should be getting close to around 1,000 at this point. Anyway, the Dragon Radar starts beeping in the direction of a mountain, which Bulma refers to as Fire Mountain. Roshi says that that's the right location and they land. Upon landing, they see a large castle and out the door comes a girl. The girl blushes upon seeing Goku, but then asks what brings the four of them here. Roshi says hello to her and calls her Chi-Chi. The girl responds by saying hello back, indicating that the two of them clearly know each other. Yamcha asks her if her name really is Chi-Chi, to which she says it is, and Yamcha starts to giggle a little. Since I remember that in the movie they kinda like to make a joke or two about her name being Chi-Chi, cause, that means boobs in Japanese, ha ha ha. Good one, guys. But anyway, so I figure that this is their equivalent to making a reference to that fact. So anyway, that aside, Roshi asks Chi-Chi where her father is, and Chi-Chi mentions that he's not home right now, but asks if she can be of assistance. Bulma asks Chi-Chi if she's familiar with the Dragon Balls, and if she is in possession of one. To which Chi-Chi says that she is aware of what they are and knows of them, and yes, there is one inside their place, and takes them to it, which, of course, is contained within a safe. Anyway, right as they're about to see this Dragon Ball, they all hear a bang sound, and run out to find that the castle got attacked by Piccolo once more. Roshi decides to take action and attacks. He tells Goku that he has no choice but to use the Mafuba to seal Piccolo back, and it reminds Goku that doing so comes at the cost of his life. Goku pleads with Roshi not to do this, but Roshi says that it's the only way. So Roshi prepares the Mafuba, but much like in the film, it fails and Roshi dies. From here, Piccolo grabs the Dragon Ball from them, and having gathered all 7, prepares his wish to be made outside in the mountain area. But as that is happening, the moon starts to rise. Goku tells everyone that they need to take cover right away because of the monster that appears during the full moon. He mentions that this monster killed his grandpa last time. Bulma is skeptical of this, but then the moon rises and Goku starts to transform into a giant ape, or Ozaru if you will. Having turned into the ape, Goku goes on a rampage and starts to attack everything in sight. Piccolo is about to summon the dragon, but Goku grabs him and beats him up violently, even ripping one of Piccolo's arms off in the process. After his beatdown, Goku sends Piccolo flying far away. Goku sets his sights on his friends, while Mai, who is still in the hovercraft that her and Piccolo got in there, she decides it's not worth it and decides to make a run for it, and leaving behind the Dragon Balls. So with Goku about to attack his friends, Bulma remembers that when she grabbed his tail, he was unable to even move. So she tells Yamcha to use his sword to cut Goku's tail off, figuring it would paralyze him enough until they can figure out a way to turn him back into a human. Upon doing so, Goku suddenly turns back to his normal self and wakes up. Bulma immediately covers her eyes due to Goku being naked due to the transformation ripping his clothing. Goku puts on a change of clothes that Bulma gives him, and it's an orange uniform. Meanwhile, we see that in the afterlife, Roshi and Gohan are having a conversation. Gohan tells Roshi that he is quite pleased with the way Goku turned out, and that he is content with remaining in the afterlife, but tells Roshi that he, however, needs to go back, since Goku still has plenty to learn from him. So now we go back to Goku and the others having now gathered the Dragon Balls. Goku asks Bulma if she intends to have her wish granted, which she reveals was actually a wish to have a boyfriend. But she says that she thinks she's now found a boy that she likes, and eyes her way at Yamcha. Yamcha then says that thanks to Bulma, he feels much more confident around girls, and he's pretty satisfied. Maybe the two of them kind of look at each other in a sort of eyeing sort of way. Maybe they rub their noses together, that sort of cutesy thing. So with that, Bulma summons the dragon by saying, "Arise, Shenron." Now in the movie, they were stupid enough to have the dragon not talk, which I think is pointless and unnecessary. And since I do recall early rumors that Chris Sabat would actually be reprising his role as the dragon, I say we actually should do that. The way I see it, it's always a good idea when adapting something animated into live action to get someone to reprise their role when possible. The Transformers films managed to get Peter Cullen to voice Optimus Prime, and Speed Racer got the voice of Speed Racer himself to come in and play the announcer before his death. May he rest in peace. So I think it's a fair request to have Sabat reprise his role to play Shenron once more. Anyway, upon being summoned, Shenron tells them that he will grant them all one wish, and Goku asks the dragon if he can bring Master Roshi and his grandpa Gohan back to life. The dragon says that he can bring back Master Roshi, but that Gohan cannot be revived because he can't bring a person back to life more than once. Goku is surprised to hear that Gohan was brought back once before, but allows Roshi to be brought back regardless. The dragon brings Master Roshi back and departs. The Dragon Balls then separate and scatter. Roshi tells Goku that back when Piccolo first came to invade the Earth, that Gohan died protecting everyone. Roshi reveals that after Piccolo was sealed the first time, that he and several others went out to gather the Dragon Balls to bring him back. After Gohan was revived, he decided to seclude himself to the small hut that him and Goku lived in growing up. When he got there, he found that the 4-star ball landed over there, which gives an explanation for why he treasures it so heavily. From here, everyone goes their separate ways. Bulma and Yamcha decide to head off as a couple, and Roshi decides to return to the island to go back to training his upcoming student. And as Goku is about to call for the Nimbus to take them off, and go find the 4-star Dragon Ball once again, Chi-Chi asks Goku if she can come with him, to which Goku asks her if she's able to ride the Nimbus, which she says that she's quite well behaved and gets on no problem. The movie ends with Goku and Chi-Chi flying off into the distance. As the credits roll, we get a mid-credits scene that shows Bulma in the bathroom adjusting her hair. In this scene, she decides to dye the rest of her hair blue and cut it a bit short. She does this while wearing an outfit she had on during Namek. Yep, that's right, she now looks like the version of her from the Namek saga, which, of course, being all blue, makes the character look much more faithful to the series. So anyway, the credits roll, and then an after credits scene of Piccolo being nursed back to health can be used. One that's just like the one in the actual movie. One last thing that I think needs to be done a little bit differently after that song that they created, I think it was called Rule, is finished playing. I think they should have the original Dragon Ball opening, Mystical Adventure, play. Use the dubbed or sub version, either one is fine, or you can use some mix of it like they did with Speed Racer. And I think this is needed because this is something that nearly every superhero / comic based movie needs to do. Is that if it's based off an animated series that has an iconic theme song, you need to play it at the end credits. I mean, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films use the classic Spider-Man themes, and the later Transformers movies, and by later I mean the ones that stopped being good, had the original theme song play at the ends. And heck, Speed Racer's movie, which may not have been very good, but even they did this by having a multi-linguistic remix of the original opening for their movie. So I think having a song people will recognize is a good touch. So, that's how I would fix Dragon Ball Evolution. Now that this what if has been done, I figure I should state a few things regarding why I made an exception to my usual rules of not doing anime or live action stuff. I felt that Dragon Ball Evolution was a movie that had lots of wasted potential, and seriously needed some damage control. I may or may not do more What If X Was Good videos for movies in the future, though I intend to stick with cartoons. However, if I find a movie that was intended to be an adaptation of a well-loved work that was done horribly, I might consider it. Now, with what I just said about doing well-loved adaptations that were done terribly, I do need to get this out of the way before I get flooded with requests for it. I will not in any way be doing a What If X Was Good video for The Last Airbender or the Twilight films. The reason why is that for any movie I try to fix, it would have to have the same rules as I did for this one of, not recasting anyone, and basically I just get to fix the story up. And the only thing that I can fix is their story. With that in mind, Twilight can't be fixed because it's based off an already terrible series of books, so the only way to make it a good movie would be to completely change the entire story and make it different from the book as possible, which of course would piss off the purists who are angry at me for straying from the source material. As for The Last Airbender, the problems with that film were that the cast wasn't the right races, and they tried to cram way too much content into one film. So there is nothing I can do to cover the entire contents of the first season into a single movie. Plus the fact that it was being directed by M. Night Shyamalan also works against it. That aside, I will go back to covering TV shows again. Leave a comment below if you have a suggestion for a What If X Was Good video I should do in the future.